this little bag in here is your bottom board. And so that's the thing that's going to be on the very, very bottom that you build the rest of the hive on. If you do get a stand, and I recommend if you're near ants or field mice, you might consider having a stand. This is the first thing that you put down. All right, we're going to do a bottom board assembly. This one's a little bit tricky, but it's still all modular. You put your side without the groove down, and then the next piece has a tongue on one side, groove on the other, and your third piece just has a tongue, and no tongue on the outside. So the ones without the tongue on the outside are the outside piece. This one you start in that tongue. This you gotta sort of massage that in there with your hammer. And then let me straighten it out since my so you can see I got it real tight up here and it's kind of loose down there. And there you go, a nice tight seam all the way down. Now I take my other outside piece, sort of line it up with your thumb on the end to make it level. All right, so there's the bottom board. You might be thinking, that seems flimsy, and it would if you stopped here. So now I'm going to put my cleat on one side. And we're going to want to drive some nails in there. So they all come with, on the bag of nails, it has the name bottom board on it. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Grab a couple of nails. I'll be having these in my mouth, so my audio will be weird. So again, find your middle point. I'll do it on this side. The middle point of the board. Come in a ½ inch or so. And again, that's why a nail gun would be genius, because it's super easy and fast. Maybe we'll do another video when I can use my nail gun. Now, because I've done it a million times, I would take a straight edge between these two nails, some kind of straight object like another board, and use that as a guide so that you know you're still centered. So you could use a ruler or even draw a line if you want. But just if you put a straight edge between the two nail heads and make a mark there in the middle, now I know that I'm going to be in the middle. And I kind of just eyeballed it. You notice there my nail started going sideways, so I just straighten it. Now let's see how I did. It didn't come out, and it didn't come out. So now you can see we're separating on this side. So I can just kind of squeeze it together. Now I take my cleat and I put that right here. So you can see when it's sitting here, this will be the front porch where the bees just fly in, and then the back has that little step where you can set the boxes right up against it, and hopefully that makes sense. We're sitting on the bottom board, and then this side will be where the bees can just fly right in. So again, this one, since there's no lip, you can sort of eyeball that center. So I'm checking my seams to make sure it's tight. I kind of line it up and feel the side to make sure that's straight. Started my nail, and now I'm just I've checked this and I've checked that face. There you go. Make sure those seams are tight. And what you're doing is securing each of those 3 panels, obviously, with a nail. And then once you put a little paint on the outside, not that you ever use paint as glue, but sort of brings it all together. Ta-da! No splits. All right, so there's the basic assembly. Now, the side that has no shoulder is the top. Flip it over. And here's where we have these cleats. And this is for added support. The instruction actually has it out here. So we'll do it out there. I thought that they were going to do it in thirds, but it looks like it's just like this. Again, all these nails are galvanized for outdoor use. Okay, and now these little rails have little nails. Flip it back over. Again, you can see this in the picture. So let me explain this real quick to you. This board is exactly the same width as our bottom boxes. In fact, come over here, Sean, if you will. See, that's the exact same width. And so, just like that, the height is B-space. That's what we talk about in the DVD, the concept of B-space. So when I put this down here, now I've got a B-space sized gap on 3 sides with the entrance in the front. So that's what these rails are there for. When I set the box on top of this, and you line up the back corners, it's going to match perfectly, and you see that little gap for the bees to land on the porch, and they'll fly right inside. So watch, if we didn't have these rails and I set it down on there, there's no entrance. That would make it much more difficult for the bees to get in. So that's what the rails are. And that's sort of the genius of Reverend Langstroth, the father of modern beekeeping equipment, as he sort of pioneered the concept of bee space so that you could reuse your gear every year. The old style beehives, you had to destroy the comb every year. And so you would start from scratch, which really meant you didn't get very much honey. So again, all I'm doing is I'm going to start my nail and then make it flush with my thumb. Oh, it went through the side. So I'll probably pull that nail out and do it again. This time, let's see, I got too close to the edge like I told you earlier not to do. That's what you get when you're trying to talk and do two things at once. Somebody give me a stick of gum, see if I can do three things at once. So this time I'm going to start all three of my nails. Sometimes in the books you'll see people that just keep things natural. They don't put any paint on their gear. You can do that. It's not going to last as long. Let's see if I can straighten that guy out. It's a save. Okay, so other than my one error over here that it will pull out with a pair of pliers, there's your bottom board.